way to go. Who you got a long way. Perception, pretty women, and why you feel the need to shrink in order to be accepted. Tonight, we're going to be analyzing the pretty pedestal. Okay, that everyone claims that we have. Right. Everyone claims that we have. Okay. So, when pretty fails, what you gonna do? When pretty fails, what you gonna do? So, I'm a digital design coach for YouTube and e-commerce platforms, helping you guys build your confidence, take your ideas, create them into reality, and placing them onto YouTube or your e-commerce platform, starting y'all websites, helping y'all build them in the background, building your brand, building your presence, building your perception. Okay, boom. So today we're going to be using a little bit of a celebrity to, just display the whole concept here. And we're not necessarily gonna go deep dive. I don't deep dive into celebrities. That's not what I do over here on my channel. Over here on my channel, we talk about branding and positioning your power online and building your online presence. Okay, and perception in the way that people perceive you go into branding and how you're going to display yourself online as you are posting on YouTube or as you are posting on your social medias to therefore build up your brands and to, market your e-commerce products or however your services, how that goes, right? Okay. So here we go. Let's dive into these. So I got the inspiration from Mariah actually. So I was watching her podcast, Mariah Sincere. Go check her out. Last night I was watching her podcast. I had to go to sleep last night. Mariah, girl, you be trying to keep me up. But anyhow, I had to go to sleep last night. But everybody was in the building in Mariah live yesterday. But she started talking about like Lauren London and Cassie, and she said something that sparked a little nerve. And so today I was like, let me see if I can do a live and like kind of talk about it a little bit deeper. So let's dive into it, y'all. Okay, so we are analyzing the pretty pedestal. All right, Nicki Minaj. Okay, we is representing all the girls for the quotes pretty pedestal tonight. Okay, we got Nicki Minaj on my shirt, and we talking about Lauren London and Cassie tonight. All right, so let's get into it. So we don't talk enough about what it really feels like when people try to decide who you are. Okay, based off of how you look. So people like, even when I was in high school, people would perceive me to be a certain way. It's almost like if people watch certain kinds of movies, they feel like your personality is supposed to fit that narrative, right? If you are quote deemed the pretty girl, right? It's just like people automatically start giving you character traits based off of how you look when you didn't take no type of time to get to know me, my personality, what I think, and how I talk. You just, oh, she stuck up. Okay? So the moment people perceive you as pretty, put together, or a certain way, they start creating a whole character in their head. And it's usually not the one you pick for yourself, and it's usually not the one that you really are. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? Okay, people like to form falsified opinions about folks, even when the facts is in front of their face. Okay, even when the facts is in front of their face. This is something that I noticed about people. Folks be saying this whole sentence about folks like to play in their face. It's not that folks are playing in your face. It's the fact that some people just cannot face reality for what it truly is. And they want to make falsified stories. So, you know how like women say, dudes be gaslighting them? I don't think that. Me personally, I don't think that. What I honestly think, like I literally was thinking about this the other day. I honestly think that guys are in denial of their own reality. And so they want a woman that plays out a role that is in favor of this image that he wants to uphold. That's what I think. So in turn, it's really they're gaslighting themselves and they just want you to play the role. That's how I see that. Me personally, that's how I see it. So I don't be like, oh, dudes are gaslighters. I don't, that's not what I think. Okay? Okay, so this video is about perceptions and the roles people want you to play and what happens when you stop performing. Okay, so as y'all know, right now, the hot topic is you know what. I ain't gonna say what the hot topic is, but Mariah brought this to my attention that like I forgot that Lauren London and Cassie were working for Sean John and they were like modeling off his clothes, and I was like a light bulb clicked in my head, and I was like, that's right. That's right. I was like, that sounds about right. So she had brought up this picture on her podcast of like Cassie and Lauren London like taking a picture together, doing Sean John. Okay, so let's look at our cases for today. So we have Lauren London versus Cassie. Okay, so this is the perception. Now here we're going to talk about the pretty women and the perception of the whole pretty pedestal and how the pretty pedestal can either work in your favor or it can deter, not be in your favor. Okay, so let's say for an example. So Lauren London, she's seen as the woman who stood by her man. Okay, that stood by her king. Okay, she's given very much so Nala vibes from the Lion King. Y'all know I love to talk about the Lion King. I love to talk about Lion King. I love to talk about Pride Rock. I have like 2 videos on my channel where I talk about how I think one of the videos was like how can men become the prize again, and I talked about like this Lion King reference of like Pride Rock and everything. So definitely go check that out. I'll leave it in the description once we get off this live. But yes, so she was uplifted and she was more honorable, more deemed worthy of pretty privilege because she stood by her man. But this is the thing that gave tradition, right? That gave tradition. That like some people are so tradition based that like they can't see women outside of these traditional roles, right? Okay, boom. Then you have Cassie on the other hand, where she decided to leave a situation, right? And she tried to leave with some type of dignity, right? Some type of stance and be like, you know what, I'm done with this. I ain't with this ish no more. I'm trying to rebuild my life and go about my business and rebuild something new with my new man. You feel what I'm saying? And little do you know, it's not that. Hold on. Oh, and people don't know what to do with that, right? So it's almost like now that she's taking a stand, they're like, how dare she take a stand? How dare she build her own Pride Rock, right? How dare she try to build up a new platform? How dare she try to stand up on her newfound pedestal? How dare she, right? And that's how people literally perceive or have this narrative of pretty women, right? It's like if you try to build something upon your own accord or you try to stand upon your newfound pedestal or your newfound, I don't know, outlook on life, people feel like, how dare you? I'm gonna make you feel smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. I swear that's how they see it, right? Okay. So it's not that one woman is better than the other. This is not the comparison here, right? It's about how people respond when a woman takes her power back publicly. How a woman takes her power back publicly. Now, this is the thing. This is the 2 differences that I know about Lauren London and Cassie. Okay, so Cassie, I think they said that she didn't, or according to Mariah, because she's more in tune with this. I'm not as in tune with it. I just be listening in the background. Okay. So, what I was gonna say? Dang, what was I gonna say? Oh, she didn't want to publicly do this whole court case sessions with everyone. She wanted to keep it private, okay? And this the other thing about Lauren London. She had the privilege to, I'm not gonna say she had the privilege to be private, but she did have the privilege to be private. Like after the fact, after the whole ordeal, she had the privilege to go into hiding and to deal with it, to deal with her grief in private. But yet when it comes to Cassie, she has to deal with her grief publicly. And because she's dealing with grief publicly, oh, this is the word. And because she's dealing with grief publicly, it's almost like people are ashamed when real ish happens to attractive people. I swear to you, that's how it seemed like. It seemed like it's almost like people like to minimize pretty women's thoughts, ideas, anything that comes out of their mouth, anything that is of the opposing view of another person or someone else's character, they want to shame her for it and act like she just making up falsities when clearly, the proof is in the pudding and the facts is being laid down. And then you got all these other people in the background, they know the real tea, but you got everybody else commenting, uh this, that, and the other, like she the culprit. That's I don't like that ish. I don't like that ish. Okay? So this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the pretty pedestal. What you gonna do when the pretty fails? What are you going to do when the pretty fails? Because I'm gonna tell you something. It's a lot of people on TikTok that be like, I saw like two people. Um it was this girl and it was a boy. And they both were saying like, "Oh, I wish I was attractive because people would pay more attention to me." No, they not. No, they not. No, they're not. I'm going to let you know right now. Just because you're attractive, people are not going to pay attention to you. Just because you're attractive does not mean you have 1,001 people in your DMs. Because let me tell you something. When you're an attractive person, people approach you with ill intent. Listen, when you are an attractive person, people approach you on ill intentions. You think when people just come in your messages and be like, "You cute, you cute, you cute, you cute, you cute." Okay, yeah, next. That's not starting a conversation with me. That's not making me feel human. That's not making me create a connection with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, if a dude is coming into my DMs, the only thing he's saying is, "You cute." Okay, next in. Hello, how are you? How am I doing today? Ask me real questions. Don't just like, "You cute, you cute." Next, it's very robotic. Are you human? Like, I'm going to be asking you, are you human? Because you looking at me on this pedestal like I'm the alien. That's the thing. That's the other thing, too. When you are attractive, people view you like you just not from this planet. And so because you're not from this planet, that yes, you're quote on the pedestal of trying to match these made up things that they have in their head about you. So you're never really truly accepted and you're never really truly validated because people like to control beauty. So when I was listening to Mariah's podcast, and I like to say podcast, show her podcast, however. But when I was listening to her podcast, and she was like, men like to control women's beauty. And she said something that like triggered me, like woke me up. Not like triggered, like made me angry, but like woke up a thought in my head. And like last night she made a statement and she was like, pretty girls can't can't date like ugly dudes. Like she said pretty girls cannot date non-attractive dudes. And I was like, huh. I literally was like, I was like, huh. Like, it's like, I like watching Mariah's podcast because not only do she talk about like the celebrities, but then she'll go off on like other areas that's like topics that people don't talk about on like a regular daily given day. And I never really had spoken to, you know, another woman who is deemed as pretty privileged or however. But it was interesting to me how she thought of like the pretty privilege and how she says like men try to control beauty. Because to be honest, I had like this, I had shared in my last live, I think my last live. Was it my last live? I don't know. Either it was my last live or like 2 lives ago. I was like, I started noticing that people like to control beauty when, or it don't even gotta be beauty. It can literally just be your talent, right? It don't even gotta be beauty. So let's say, for instance, so like when one of my family members found out that I knew how to sing, I could already feel the energy change, right? And so one of my family members was like, "Oh my God, you know how to sing?" But like singing is on, like, that family member is on the side of the family that sings, right? Okay, so on my dad's side of the family, we're singers. Like we all, like, not all of us sing, but like a good majority of us know how to sing. I don't know. I think it's just like, I don't know. That's some families are like that. You're just like musically inclined. Okay. So when one of my family members found out that I knew how to sing, his whole like energy shifted and changed. And it's almost like I could feel the energy change through the messages he was sending me. So he was like, "Oh my God, you know how to sing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You know what? We need to go to a studio right now." And I'm like, "I'm not going to no studio. I'm not going to no studio." I just knew. And I was like, how old was I? I think I was like 18, 18 when I first, yeah, I think I was like, yeah, I was like 18 when I first, because I first started YouTube when I was 17. And then he ended up, I don't know if I sent him a YouTube video or he came across my YouTube video or something. I don't know. And he found out that I knew how to sing. Once he watched my YouTube video, he was like, "This, I'm telling you. I'm telling you." And he was on some, "Oh, let me be your manager." And then I had told y'all, so then some years later, I had watched this movie with you know that little document, I don't want to say documentary. What do they call those? I don't know, when people go and redo folks' live biopics, right? Okay, so it was that Dr. Dre and Michelle A thing. Yeah, no. I just could feel the change and them trying to, they like to control your talent and they like to control your beauty. And I'm just like, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. Okay? So let's get back to what this pretty pedestal. So either you're allowed to be admired as long as you stay inside of the image that people want you to uphold, okay? That makes them feel comfortable. So either you're a pretty woman that is, oh, you're pretty and you're traditional, but if you're pretty and you go outside of the realms of this traditional roles of like uh cooking and cleaning and tending to, and you want to use your pretty privilege for your own gain, or just for you to reclaim your life again, like Cassie, it's like, "Oh my God, you're the villain. Oh my God, you're wrong. Oh my God, like, how dare you?" And you know how people now have this new skewed um perception of Cassie now. Okay. So this, I'm gonna share another personal story. So one time I had a job back in 2014, right? And so my boss at the time, she tried to write me up because I had ideas. I'm very idea driven person. I just have ideas, right? So she tried to write me up because I had ideas and it made her feel some type of way, basically. So, um, this so with that being, she tried to write me up. So with that being said, I had got done. So then I had tried to look for another job, and then I started to tell her like, "Hey, I'm looking for another job, or I applied, or this and that. I'm about to be leaving, this and that." Okay, boom. Do you know? Do you know that this lady figured out who I was gonna work for, and she called up one of the old employees that used to work for us to the company I was gonna go to. She called her to call me at the end of my shift to tell me not to go work for them folk. Okay, non-professional. Two, then then I left about the thing mad as hell. So then I came back to work, right? And you know this lady tried to offer me a promotion. How you go from trying to write me up to then trying to offer me a promotion right when I'm finna go? And you done called somebody to try to get me to stop. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I be talking. It be these power plays, okay? So it wasn't about my performance. You gonna write me up cause what? Cause I got ideas. Cause I'm not compliant. I'm not a compliant person. I'm not. I'm not a compliant person. That's why these jobs don't like me. They don't like me because they quote see me as a threat, and I'm not compliant. I'm just not. I wasn't made that way. I just was. Okay. So it wasn't about performance. It was about control. Me not playing the oh my god, you gotta give me a permission. Oh, me not playing the grateful pretty girl was a problem for her, and it made her uncomfortable. Okay, so this experience taught me that people will reject you to break you, but really they're just training you to stop needing their permission. Let me tell you something. When people constantly, I don't know, do passive aggressive stuff or whatever the heck they be doing at these jobs, da, 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 it's almost like they teach you how to not need other people's validation. That's what happens. It's like because people throw jabs at pretty women all the time, it trains the right. I'm not gonna say it trains all of us because it's not all of us. But for me personally, it trained me to not need other people's validation. And so when I walk across this earth and I present myself, people perceive that as I'm stuck up. No, I'm sure of myself because I've had so many people talk ish for no apparent reason, just off the base of how I look, to where I stopped seeking validation from people. And I had to do that at a young age, period. I personally had to do that at a young age. Like, people think that, like, pretty girls grow up in environments where, like, their parents love the F-U-C-K out of them. Like, I don't, it's just like this made up fantasy that people have. That's the other thing, too. It's almost like when you're attractive, people like to make up fantasies. And I don't know if that's just like Disney like, where they're like, oh, it's a beautiful room, their room looks nice, and they just must get everything. Maybe sometimes, let me be real with you. Maybe sometimes many sometimes people's outward appearance looks really nice because their inward appearance or their inward feelings is actually effed up. Have you ever thought about that? I mean, really. Really. Why do you think some people like the case that's currently going on? Why do you think that this particular individual had to have loads and loads and loads and loads of money? And he had to have like loads and loads and loads of activities that gave him a temporary pleasure, but internally, something was effed up. You feel what I'm saying? So it's almost like the frustrating thing for me personally is like people think pretty privilege is like, oh my god, your life must be like roses and gumdrops and rainbows. Like it's not. This is real life. Like everybody goes through BS. Everybody has trauma and everybody has been bullied. Like trust me, it don't matter if you cute or you not. And you got folks up here on TikTok talking, oh, I wish I was attractive. No, you don't. Because at least I would say if you're a regular looking person, you have the ability to stay in workplaces longer than somebody who's quote deemed pretty privileged. You feel what I'm saying? People want to get either they want you to align to their program or you getting out, like you getting banished. It's almost like this is almost how do I say this? So my last year of high school, actually went to an alternative school. And in this alternative school, everybody was like, no, don't go to that high school because that high school is known to have um the gays. Okay, I don't know if you allowed to say that on YouTube. I don't know. But it was known as the school that, had trans and that I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care. I didn't care about that. That don't bother me. That don't bother me. Boys wearing nail colors, fishnet tops, da da da. That don't bother me. Okay, so I ended up going to this high school, and it's almost like, and it's so funny because I don't want to give it away, but it almost gave me a respect for those who are, gay or trans or this and that because they do things on their own terms regardless of what society says about them. That's what I admire. I admire anybody who operates on those type of terms. Okay? I love people who march to the beat of their own drum and not people who always trying to fit you into a box of like traditional roles or how you supposed to be for they old programming. I'm not into that. I was not created on such um type of wavelengths, right? I'm not created on those type of frequencies. So I love people who march to the beat of their own drum. And it's so funny. I'm going to say something a little twisted here. I'm going to say something really a little twisted. You know how people have this problem with quote narcissism? There's a part of me that even admires a little bit of that narcissism. Why? Because narcissists march to their own beat of their drum. I like anybody who marches to the beat of their own drum. Not to my detriment though. But like seriously. I like people who don't shape and mold themselves to be what society or what the next person think they ought to be or who they ought to show up to be. I don't like that ish. So that's what I'm saying with this whole pretty privilege thing. It's like, but is it really a privilege though? Because it's almost like everybody has to shape and mold and mask themselves to be something that society feels like we ought to be. And that ish gets really irritating to me personally. Okay? So, people love to throw around the term pretty privilege like it means like life is easier. Okay? So this is the other thing. So like Lauren London, she had to experience grief, but she was able to hide her grief behind she had time to like chill and stuff with her stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I had to do the same thing. And it was almost like I had to grieve on my own terms. And yeah, I might have had a family member around, or a family member was there in the very beginning, but when it came to grieving for real, was nobody there. Was nobody there. I lost 2 family members in 2023. What nobody there. It's almost like when you're attractive or you're quote pretty privileged and something real actually happens to you, people want to deny it like, oh no, how dare you have any feelings? How dare you tell the truth? How dare you expose anyone? And that's literally how they're treating Cassie. Literally. Okay? So, that's the thing. But on the flip side of pretty privilege, being pretty often means being policed harder, expected to tone it down, and to stay agreeable. Like the other day, I was on my live. I don't know what live I was doing. And somebody came in and was like, why are you yelling? First of all, if I'm a coach, I'm a literal coach, a digital design coach. When your coach gets passionate, their voice elevates. I'm not yelling. I'm being passionate about what I'm talking about. Just like when preachers get to preaching their word and they get louder, it doesn't mean that they're yelling. It means they're giving you something to feel. Period. Because there's a lot of people that talk ish all day but never give you a source of real true feeling. You feel what I'm saying? So when somebody really spitting some real ish at you, you don't know how to handle it. Because what is coming from a pretty girl. Alright? So if you show too much confidence, oh, you're deemed as arrogant. And then if you speak too direct, then you're intimidating. It's just like, where is the pedestal? That would be wanting to know. Like, where is the pedestal? The pedestal in the pretty privilege. I don't see it. The only pedestal that I personally see is when people try to hold you to a standard that is rebonkulous. That just ridiculous. Rebonkulous. Okay? So, they over here acting like Cassie can't speak out and say what she need to say and get what need to be done. Okay? And talking about, she was... Now, this is the part that pissed me off. When I was watching Mariah podcast, and she said that folks was saying she was a willing participant. What? That... Why? Question. If a girl has, quote, deemed pretty privilege, why would she be a willing participant? If she, quote, no, please, riddle me that. Literally. Riddle me that. If a girl has, quote, pretty privilege, if Cassie had pretty privilege, and Lauren London has pretty privilege, right? Riddle me. Why would she be a willing participant? She wasn't a fucking willing participant. Sorry. Even if she did think she was going to be a rising star, get to the top, she might have thought that in the beginning. That's what they all do. Make you believe a dream. Make you believe in falsities. Okay? That willing participant, miss, see, that's what I'm talking about. Where is the pedestal? There is no pedestal. And that's the thing. Folks be thinking that if you pretty, that like people have great intentions for you. They don't. And then y'all go around and be like, oh, well, you're stuck up. Because we have to be a bitch or we have to be cold. Whichever the one, however you deem it. We have to be that way because people have ill intentions. And it's almost like, and then like the other day I was outside and I be minding my business, doing my errands, and random folks will be acting like I don't know these people. They be acting like I need to give them validation. Let me tell you some true tea. I haven't had validation since I was like 9 years old. Okay? I have to give myself validation. Okay? Ain't nobody out here, and I said it in one of my other videos. Ain't nobody out here giving folks validation. Okay? So you have to validate your own self, your own ideas, and your own worth. It's up to you to take responsibility, right? For how you show up in life, for how you show up online, period. How you're going to brand yourself online. And that's why I like to talk about presence and perception and your value, because it's up to you to build that confidence. Everybody else is not going to validate you. They're not going to tell you this. They're not going to tell the pretty thing. Oh, you cute. Next. Okay, what that mean? It's almost like somebody telling you, oh, you need to clean today. Oh, you need to clean. It's almost like you're a maid, right? And somebody keeps saying, you need to clean, 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 clean. Y'all see the point? So it's like, and it really riddle me this. When dudes, you'll hear dudes say on social media that like, oh, if you're pretty, then you probably got plenty of dudes in your DM. Yeah, saying the same ish over and over and over again to the point where you don't reply to them because it's the same robotic messages. Yeah, if that's what you talk about, a whole bunch of dudes in the DMs, yeah, saying the same ish. You're cute, you're cute, you're cute. And I'm like, okay, and next. They don't got nothing else to say, okay? Like, the conversation gets nowhere because it's so robotic. They don't know what else to say. Alright? So, boom. It's not privilege when you constantly have to manage other people's discomfort. When you are pretty and you have a mind of your own, people don't like that. People feel discomfort. Like, I can show up in a room and people automatically feel away. Ain't did shit. Ain't said nothing. And you already feel away. That don't got nothing to do with me. So therefore, they look at me like I owe them validation. Like I'm supposed to be kissing they butt. Just like in the movie Cinderella. Boom. Let me bring this home to y'all. Y'all know that Brandy movie, Cinderella, where she was deemed as the prettiest out of all of the sisters. Why would a fella want a girl like her? Da, 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 da. I don't know the words. They sat up there, swept that damn floor with their bitter selves. Then the prince come. She put her shoe on naturally, flowy, in her essence, in her presence. La la la, tra la la. Okay. Boom. And the prince is looking for her foot. Her shoe. Okay? And then the sisters over her singing, why would a fella want a girl like her? Da, 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 da. talking all this ish about her like she the evil one, though. But little do you know, the sisters was the evil ones. And she just, in her natural element, just literally. That's, I swear I'm her. Because I be in my natural element, I ain't even think about other people. I don't even think about other people like that. I really don't. And that's also narcissistic-ish. I really don't. You funny. But I really don't think about people like that. I really don't. Okay. So, because I bring that up because the two sisters in the Cinderella movie was so discomforted just by her own essence and her own presence. And the girl ain't even did nothing. But just be there. Alright, so let's wrap this up. This is why I teach people how to show up online with clarity and positioning. You have to know who you are, what you represent, what your message is going to be. And you have to know that people in the comment section gonna try to tear you up. Okay? With their perceived notions about you. Right? But you keep constantly standing upon your principles, your values. Okay? And whatever your message is, and the people that naturally are inclined to you will be inclined to you. They will watch your videos. Trust and believe. You do not have to target everyone to try to watch your videos on YouTube. Your videos are not made for everybody. Okay? And just like God has made you, He ain't made you for everybody. So when folk don't like you, that ain't your problem. Okay? When folks don't like you, that is not your problem. What they say a targeted audience. This is marketing speech. Okay? When you have a product, okay, let's say I pulled off some hair gel or some edge control up off of my bookcase over there. Is edge control going to make everybody my customer? No, it's not. Okay? Let's say I pulled a bottle of perfume up off my dresser. Is that perfume going to apply to everybody? Is everybody going to buy that perfume? Probably not. Okay? So you need to think of yourself in the same manner. Okay? When you're doing YouTube videos, when you're doing your e-commerce platforms, right? Digital Design Coach. When you're doing that, you are not focused on everybody. You have to have a targeted audience. What audience needs your message, and what are you going to say? How are you going to deliver it to them, right? How are you going to be the solution for them? How is your message going to be the solution? Okay? Because people will project, but that doesn't mean you have to shrink. Just because everybody ain't buying your product, everybody ain't watching your videos, don't mean your product, your services, or your YouTube videos need to be quick or need to be done. Don't mean you gotta dead it. Okay? You gotta continuously be on your venture, be on your journey. But you gotta be the one to affirm yourself in it. That's why I made my coloring book, Align by Design, Affirmation for Creatives and Entrepreneurial Spirits. You have to be the one to validate your journey. You have to be the one to validate your entrepreneurial journey, okay? Through your YouTube and through your e-commerce platforms, okay? Your online presence is your chance to take ownership of your story, your style, and your value. I'm a digital design coach, and I help people do what is intentional. Be intentional with how they are seen. So the perception doesn't control the positioning. People's perceptions try to push you out of position. Once you know your stance and you keep showing up and honoring that position, people will see that you are who you are, and you will build that authority. And we talk about building authority online, right? So you be that go-to person for people. to scout out when they need a solution from you, right? Through your products, through your services, through your YouTube channel. Okay? So if you ever felt boxed in, misread, or like you had to prove your worth to be taken seriously, I want you to hear this. You don't have to shrink to be respected. You don't have to perform to be seen. If you're ready to start showing up with confidence, clarity, and real intentions, check the description box below. I've got tools and coaching that help you step into your power without apologies. So, the very first tool of mine is the Align to the Signs Audience Solution Template. In this template, there are 5 key points. Think of a quick Excel spreadsheet that has your pain point, right? Who are you going to serve? What is their pain point? What is their issue? What are they currently experiencing? What does it look like for them on a monthly or a weekly given basis? How is it a hindrance to them? And how can your product or solution, how your product, which is the solution, your service or your YouTube channel going to be the solution for that very pain point? And then the 5th point is, what does that look like for them once they get your product, your service, or watch your YouTube videos, right? So what is that magical solution that you have that will turn their pain point to now being a pleasure point, right? So we're turning people's pain points into a pleasure point so that you've given them a solution. When people watch your YouTube videos, you are giving them not just entertainment or something to watch, or you just constantly doing content creation. See, that's the thing. You want to do content creation with intention. You don't just want to keep making videos because you're going to feel like, why am I doing this? You have to be intentional with every video that you produce. Make your audience do something that gives them a solution to make their lives better. Okay? And thus, that way you monetize yourself quicker than to constantly make all these videos. Because if you already have a product, you already made merchandise, you already got your e-commerce site, which I teach y'all how to do, then you're already monetized without trying to do what they call that, YouTube AdSense. You did 1,001 videos just for YouTube to monetize you. For what? When you could have been monetized and you could have been getting some money. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what I provide as the free tool in my description box below. The Align to the Signs Audience Solution Template. Okay? So you have to align to the sign. The signs are what those 5 key points that I just explained. Okay, that's giving you a sign to the solution and the product and the service that you could possibly build, okay, or the YouTube channel that you can build that gives them that solution, that gives them that sign. And that is the sign for you to align by design, by the design that you have created by finding that solution for them. All right? So, once again, that tool is free in the description box below. Then after that tool, okay, I got 4 tools. The Align to the Signs, that's free. Then it is the guidebook. So it's the Find Your Why guidebook. What is the Find Your Why guidebook? Think of it like let's say you had got a job before, right? And they had like a handbook. And in the handbook, it'll have like their values, their core, their mission, why, like what do we represent here at this company, and why are we doing what we're doing, and like what are we going to produce as we're here in this mission. That is the Find Your Why guidebook. So that way the guidebook tells you what you need to post, how to deliver a message to your audience through your YouTube, through your products, through your services, through your e-commerce site. That is the guidebook. And the reason why it's called the Find Your Why guidebook is because you're writing down the reasoning why you are doing this in the first place. And it's not just about the money. I say this every time. It's not just about the money. It's about the core reasons why you're doing it, because these are your motivators as you are constantly uploading content, as you are constantly producing things for your brand, okay? For your marketing. Because YouTube is a marketing tool. YouTube is not just, oh, I'm going to post a video today and I'm keep posting. No. You have to do it with intention, do it with strategy, knowing that you are taking people from point A to point B to point C. And point C is the money. You feel what I'm saying? Point C is the money. You don't want to just be making point A, point A, point A, point A, point A. Think about it. What is the point of me watching your YouTube videos for if you just talk about the same stuff? Like, help me get to a new place. That's the thing. That's what I help people do. I help people get to a new place by teaching them how to position their power with YouTube and e-commerce platforms. That's what makes me a digital design coach. I've already built my own website, and I got a second website that I literally just got done doing yesterday. I finished the whole thing. I only needed 3 days to do it. Literally. So, my original website that I built, the Soul Tree Accessory, that took me 6 months to complete. That's like a real full out website. That took me 6 months to complete. The other website that I'm going to teach y'all in the e-commerce builder workshop, it only took me 3 days to do that, because it's so much quicker to do the version that I'm going to teach y'all in the e-commerce builder workshop, because that tool right there is a quick get ready, make sure you got what you want, okay, boom, bada bing, we're going to put it on there. But like a website where you have like your about page and all of that, oh, that took me 6 months to do. Okay? And so I have all my old videos of all, my YouTube intros, my YouTube banners, things that I know how to make in Canva. I even did a video about what should be on your website, your homepage, or this, or that. So if you're like really anticipating on creating a name for yourself and you need a website, I'm telling you, I'm your digital design coach for that. Y'all got any questions? Definitely write me on the community tab for sure. Okay? So, in closing, let folks think what they want to think. Because you can't change nobody's perception. Like, in this case, and also I'm going to say this. So, y'all know Chris Brown just got out of where he just got out of. You had this girl over here talking about some old-ish with Rihanna. Still, girl. Still. Like, you ain't never made a mistake out your life before. I'm trying not to cut. You still talking about some Rihanna-ish. And it's up 10 years later. You can't change folks' perception. If that's what they want, let them. Okay? Let them say what they will. Your value don't decrease just because somebody else refuses to see it. In Jesus' name. Okay? And if being too much makes people uncomfortable, not staying inside the box, not staying inside the picture frame that they got for your ass, okay, maybe they need to ask why they built the box in the first place. Maybe they need to know why they had a frame for you in the first place. Because the reason why folks want to frame you is because you're valuable. Let me tell you something. People have what they call them. Not drop boxes. What do they call? Not drop boxes. Something box. I feel like it starts with a D though. Like, it's a certain term for it. But like the display box, you know how people get trophies or they get like dolls and they display them but they frame them up right first. It's because you are a trophy. They just want to capture and cage the trophy. That's all. That's all. But some people are so valuable and so beautiful that you cannot cage it. Okay? And that's the whole thing. And it's so funny because I remember talking to my dad, right? And my dad, he has a dog, right? And it's so crazy because guys be like, oh, dogs are the best pets. It's dogs over cats, dogs over cats, right? So I have a cat. Yeah, so I have a cat. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay. So, with that being said, people like to cage beautiful things. That's why people prop up these display boxes. They display their dolls, they display their trophies, they display these footballs in like these display boxes, right? They try to cage it up. And it's so funny because people be saying like dogs are better pets than cats. I personally have a cat. My dad has a dog. And it's funny how men say the dogs are a male's best friend, but y'all cage them up though. You don't cage up no cat unless you taking him to the vet. But then they'd be like, I don't like cats. Why? Because cats got a mind of their own. They do whatever they want to, and therefore, the cats have boundaries. Cats gonna put your hand down, beat down. Okay? That's why I don't like cats, because cats jump on stuff and do whatever. But apparently, with a dog, you can train him and make him know yes, no, what I say so. Da, da, da. I mean, cats understand that too. They do. But still, they gonna do what they want to. And they go, put your hand down. If they want you patting them, they'll show you. Okay? And there you go. So either folks gonna admire the pedestal because you being traditional, or they want to cage you up because you is out of line. And that is the end of the video. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thumbs it up. And I'll see y'all in my next one.